These are the required points to express in your ad. Feel free to paraphrase and speak from your own experience. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. So, it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And please make sure, this point, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Do you know the spelling of anchor.fm? ANCHOR.FM. Thank you for your listening. See you. Hello everyone, I'm Richard Gon of Back to the podcast version. This time I'd like to talk about that, porn business is a secure business, which is what I'd like to tell you. And maybe you have already known that adult contents or porn business or anything is fine to express such business. Adult industry is another word for explaining that or expressing that concept. And here I'd like to tell you again is that adult industry is secure or safe without any worry about bankruptcy. Maybe some companies dealing with adult content have bankrupt, but in most cases, adult industry itself is really secure because as you know, or as you guess, sexual desire lasts forever, and which is why such sexual demand or such demands craving adult contents continuously exist forever or eternally, which is why adult industry or porn business do not die or do not disappear from this world, which is a general understanding of this world. And thinking about getting secure income or secure job, so I recommend adult business or porn industry was the occupations related to occupation if such things exist, or businesses related to adult contents. So I have created adult contents for many years, but I could those income often surges and plunges, but income influx coming from adult content hasn't stopped. Or at least I could have collected viewers or visitors into my adult blogs continuously. Such influx of viewers or such influx of accesses haven't stopped in the course of adult business of mine. And if you'd like to get secure job itself, you should choose, for example, public servants or government servants as other secure jobs, which is what because in every country, public servants or government servants are said to be secure. Maybe this is a case to other countries, not only my country. In my country, and I live in Japan, but in my country, it is said that public servants are really secure, and government servants are really secure. And apart from such public servants or government servants, whatever you name it, and apart from such occupations, what you should focus on is the office workers or the employees of infrastructure companies, and having such occupations of the companies of infrastructure, your your income does your incomes do not end, or your incomes, you can get incomes continuously without any stop from the companies of infrastructures. So what are the infrastructures company? What are the infrastructures companies are? For example, the companies of railways or the companies of power plant. People live on electric powers. So the companies of electric power plants are secure. And in another case is telephone companies. Blah blah telecommunication. There are many countries having blah blah telecommunications or blah blah telecoms. You should get the occupations of such companies. And what you should focus on is that the government owns the shares of such companies of infrastructures. So in the case of I don't remember the exact number, but in the case of France, French government owns most of the shares of EDF. EDF is electricité de France or France. Electricité de France. And in the case of France, French government owns shares of EDF, which is an which is a company of electric power plant in France. And I don't remember whether French government had the shares of Orange SA, but Orange SA is a telecommunication company of France. This is just an example of secure jobs, but So in the case of adult content creations, I recommend you doing some jobs or some works of adult content creations or adult business. But you should do them sideways or side works, because in most cases, or in the case of Australia, the main crutch of the income can't be, or the main crutch of income cannot be adult business. Or in the case of Australia, the main influx of, or the main supporting income can't depend on prostitution, which is maybe what Australian regulation says, or not Australian regulation, but that is the regulation of, I can't remember the name of the province. Yeah, I remember New South Wales. The law of New South Wales prohibits the citizens to depend on the main influx of income coming from prostitution. I'm sorry for my complicated explanation, but this in many cases, and if I recommend you depending on the main income source, I don't recommend you depending on main income source coming from adult industries or porn business. You should do porn business. You should do porn businesses or adult content related businesses as sideways or side works. And you should, which means what I'd like to tell you is that you should have a main work, or you should have main job. Any job is fine. For example, so system engineer, for example, if you're a programmer, you can become a system engineer or something like that. You should have decent job, or you should get decent job, different from adult businesses, or having no relation with adult businesses. You should have such decent jobs. You should have such a decent job. before doing adult content creations, adult content or money coming from adult content creation are extra money, extra secure money. So if you'd like to earn money more, you should create adult businesses, and you should make such businesses work automatically, if possible, by creating blogs or creating movies, so that you don't have to do you don't need to do you don't need to make much effort for creating or creating contents or writings. Once you could create many contents, so by which you can create a lot of money, not only from your main works or main jobs, but also you can get money from adult businesses, which is how I think you can become well off. Which is what I'd like to tell you. I will tell you again. So the conclusion is that porn business or adult industry is secure, and so getting such works or getting such occupation is secure, but you should do them as sideways or side works, and you should have another jobs, another decent job different from adult businesses. And and the examples of secure jobs are like public servants, and apart from public servants, there are some occupations of the companies of infrastructures, and like infrastructure companies are like railway companies and power plant companies and telecommunication companies and some others, you name it. Which is what I'd like to tell you this time. That's it. Thank you very much for your listening. See you.